Hello, my most amazing 2G artists. I am so excited today because we get to start our first 2G art project. So the things that you will need to think about today are color and pattern. So hopefully you already watched my first video about the Book of Kells and some of the amazing artwork that the artists in the monasteries did when they were scribing that book. So this is an example of one of the illuminated manuscripts that had the letter P as one of the illustrations. And I want you to notice how there's gold in there, shiny yellow color. I want you to notice how there's so much pattern, and that when you think about pattern, you think about what is repeating. So when you color your letter today, your initial, I want you to think about using a certain pattern for your colors. Here are a few more examples of some of the letters from the Book of Kells. So for example, when you look at this letter H, I know it doesn't even look like an H, it's a lowercase. Do you see any pattern that repeats? Do you see the blue lines that repeat there? Do you see the green and the pink repeating colors? How about looking at this letter U? Do you see a cool pattern with the yellow and blue going back and forth across the top? All right, and then let's take a look down here at this letter O. I see red and blue patterns with the yellow in the middle. So those are the kind of patterns that I want you to think about today when you are deciding how to color your initial. So hopefully you found this piece of paper with your initial printed on it, and you will also need markers, a cup of water, and a paintbrush. All right, this is an example that I did last year. I wanted to just show you real quick that you can keep it simple, kind of like this, or you can get a little more elaborate if you have time. Now, as I'm showing you this on the video, if I go too fast, you can always pause it and move on when you're ready, when you catch up. Okay, so I am going to color the letter L because I had some extra L's. So I think I will start with purple. And today when you color, the reason you have the water and the paintbrush is because sometimes I think it's fun to use the water and the paintbrush to make the marker look like watercolor paint. So here's one thing you can do. You can put a little bit of marker on the edge, then you can dip your paintbrush in the water, and then you can take this water, put it on the marker, and start spreading it out. So you get what looks like a lighter color that you can spread around your letter. It actually makes it go faster to do this because it spreads out and it goes quicker. Now, if you wait too long, it doesn't spread out as good. So I like to kind of go back and forth where I put some color on and then I spread it with the water. Now, if I take my marker and color on this wet part right now, then it would kind of be all smeary. So I'm going to go to a dry part. So now I'm going to go down here, and again, I'm going to put, sometimes I like to lay my marker on its side and I get a nice thick line. You can try that too. So here's another line of purple. I'm going to dip my paintbrush, get it on the marker, and then spread that purple paint up to the other parts of the letter. Now I want to do one more spot with my marker here, and then I can spread that out. Oh, maybe I'll do this spot too. I like to put it on the same side so it makes it look kind of like a shadow. So you'll notice that I'm always kind of putting it on the left side or the bottom, and then I spread the paint out on the right side, and then you'll see that it just kind of looks like a shadow. It kind of makes it look three-dimensional. All right, that went pretty quick. Now I'm going to snap my cover back on And I'm going to think about patterns now in the other decorations. So instead of coloring this all one color, I'm going to think, how can I do a pattern there? So maybe I could do a color here that are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 5 little parts here. Maybe I could kind of go back and forth. Maybe I could do a light green and a dark green. So I'm going to just go dark green, and then I'm going to skip a spot because I'm going to put the light green there, and then dark green, skip a spot, and dark green again. Now I'm going to go back with my light green and fill in the parts that I skipped. And now you'll see that I have a pattern. Now, do I have to add water whenever I color? Nope, I kind of like how bright that looks. I don't really want to water that part down. So now I'm going to do the same pattern on the other side. And while I'm doing that, I'm going to think about what color I want in the middle part of the design. Do I want to stay with green or do I want to change it up? I think I will change it to another cool color, which is blue. So blue in the middle, blue here. And then I'm going to take my paintbrush, because I don't have a light blue. I'm going to take this paintbrush, get some blue on there, and then just color the dark blue with the paintbrush, or the light blue. See? All right, now let's see. This flower over here looks like I could put some pattern in there. So I'm going to start with the green parts. I think I want the stems to be green. So I'm going to color those in, and those won't need any water because they're already really skinny. I use the water on usually on the thicker parts. All right, and then I'm going to put some green where like the veins of the leaves are, but I don't want to color those all in dark green. I think that would be a perfect spot to use the water. So I'm gonna rinse off the blue and just spread the green out with the watery paint. Now my letter has this nice dark background, so it's easy to not worry. Yeah, I don't really have to worry about going out of the lines too much because you can't even see it. But if yours isn't like that, you might have to be just a little more careful with where your paintbrush is landing. And of course it doesn't work. The water doesn't work unless you like run it over the marker first. That's how it makes it feel like paint. There. All right. Now I want to add some nice bright colors for the petals of the flower. So I'm going to go to my warm colors now. So my warm colors would be like red and orange and yellow. So I'm just going to get those ready. So I'm thinking about patterns again. So I see that I could do this part the same. And then I like these little diagonal kind of lines here. So I might do every other one yellow. And then where I skipped it, I might go back with orange. You see a pattern there. And I don't think I'll blend those because I kind of like how bright they look. All right, and then over here, I think I'll do a pattern with the orange lines. And I'll put yellow inside of those. Okay, now I'm going to add some red on these big petals. And this part I'm going to add the water to. So I'll get my brush ready. And I'll spread that around. I like how that looks there because it really makes it look like the inside of the flower. You know, like you can still see the darker red parts and it makes it look like there's some shading going on there. Pretty. Okay, then I think I'm going to go with yellow on this part here. And yellow on this part here. And I'm just going to leave those nice and bright. I'm not going to add any water. Okay, what do you think on these ones? These are my last ones. I think I'm going to do a pattern there. I'll go orange, skip one, orange. Orange, skip one, orange. And let's see, bright red in this middle part. Okay. Oh, looks like I forgot this dot. I think that should match the blue one over there. So I'm going to grab the blue, color that in. Okay, now I'm not going to really color all these little tiny white dots. I think those are fine the way they are. Now, I am done with the coloring for today, but I'm not done with the whole project, because the cool thing that we are going to do next week is we are going to add some gold paint. So before next week, I want you to see if you can find some gold paint. Or if you don't have gold paint, another option is they make Sharpie markers like this, like permanent markers that are gold. Or maybe you have gel pens that are gold. Anything that's kind of gold or even silver, like a metallic, that will help it look like an illuminated manuscript, like a letter that has the gold on it. So I'm going to add that next week. Now, before you're done for the day, make sure you put all the markers away. Make sure the caps are on nice and tight so that you don't have any drying out. Make sure you empty your water cup and put that away. And let's make sure we put our name on the back. So flip it over. And I want you to put your first name and your last initial. So like if it was my son, his name is Jacob, he would write Jacob and then he would write R for Rose. And then I want you to put your class code. So if you remember from when you were in 1G, your class code was like, if you were in Miss German's class, it was 1J, or Miss Shequin's class, it was 1S. So now that you're in 2G, you're going to change it to the number 2, and then the initial of your teacher. So if you're in Miss Lundberg's class, it would be 2L. If you're in Miss Hayes's class, it would be 2H. Miss Kelly would be 2K. Miss Batiste would be 2B. And Miss Edstrom would be 2E. So put your class code so I can make sure these stay organized if I collect them. All right, now put this in a safe place so you can find it next week when we add the gold accents. See you later.